Hello, everyone. This is Poppy with Poppy Report. If you're new around here or haven't subscribed yet, I really encourage you to hit that button so you can catch every update on the patterns of misconduct, ethical lapses, and national embarrassment linked to Donald Trump and the people closest to him. To give you proper background, I'll draw from solid reporting across multiple reputable outlets. After that, we'll dive into the most critical and revealing reactions, especially those coming directly from members of Congress, as detailed in the Washington Post's coverage of the White House event. The Daily Beast painted a vivid picture of the odd crowd and the patched-together venue for the premiere. Amazon's expensive documentary spotlighting First Lady Melania Trump had its first private screening inside a temporary setup at the White House on Saturday evening. The classic White House Family Theater, a small 40-seat room that presidents over the years have used for relaxed film viewings, was dismantled back in October. That entire space was removed specifically to build what many describe as an overly lavish new ballroom, with costs reportedly approaching $400 million during this administration. Among the guests who reportedly showed up were Jordan's Queen Rania, Apple's CEO Tim Cook, the retired boxing legend Mike Tyson, and well-known motivational speaker Tony Robbins. The actual screening took place in the East Wing, inside a high-spec viewing room that Melania directed to be assembled quickly. It was outfitted with state-of-the-art projection, sound, and lighting gear, all managed under the supervision of the film's director, Brett Ratner. To compensate for the rushed and non-traditional location, no detail was overlooked. Special custom-printed movie ticket frames as souvenirs and personalized popcorn boxes were produced just for the evening to give it a polished, event-like feel. Wealth of Geeks took a hard look at the financial reality waiting for this project and pointed to potential influence tied to big tech attendance. High-profile CEOs such as Tim Cook from Apple, Andy Jassy leading Amazon, and others from major industry players were all present for this exclusive early look. Despite the star power in the room, predictions for theatrical success remain very pessimistic. The central problem boils down to the enormous $75 million investment at stake. According to detailed reporting from Puck, Amazon paid $40 million upfront to secure the distribution rights. They've followed that with an additional $35 million poured into marketing and promotion. Everything from massive billboards dominating city skylines in major markets, to primetime television commercials, to targeted radio spots across the country. To help put those numbers in real perspective, consider these recent comparable films. Sony's family-friendly Garfield animated movie had a production budget of $60 million and went on to gross $257 million worldwide. Blake Lively's romantic drama It Ends With Us was made for just $25 million and pulled in an impressive $351 million globally. The biographical film Bob Marley, One Love carried a higher $70 million budget and still managed to earn roughly $180 million at the box office. Early industry projections for Melania, however, are forecasting an opening weekend somewhere between $1 and $2 million at best. If those estimates prove accurate, Amazon would recover only about 1.3 to 2.7% of its total $75 million outlay during the film's first 3 days in theaters, a return that would qualify as one of the most disappointing high-profile releases in recent memory. Keep in mind Amazon's broader stakes here. The company depends on billions of dollars in lucrative federal government contracts for its cloud computing services, and it's currently facing multiple high-profile antitrust lawsuits and regulatory battles. Jeff Bezos personally dined with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago not long before Amazon publicly confirmed the $40 million rights deal. Separately, Amazon contributed $1 million to the inauguration fund. Then, on the very day of this screening, several more prominent tech chief executives made the trip to watch what is, at its core, a documentary centered on personal life moments, event coordination, and behind-the-scenes glimpses. The Washington Post offered perhaps the most unflinching account of the entire situation, including some unusually direct and critical statements from sitting members of Congress. Their reporting captured the stark contrast in timing. Trump hosts Melania documentary screening as fallout from Minnesota shooting continues to dominate national headlines. The White House had scheduled this celebratory private viewing of the First Lady's film well before the tragic shooting involving a U.S. Border Patrol agent and an intensive care nurse took place. According to the publicly available White House calendar, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump hosted guests for the screening on Saturday night. Almost immediately, Democratic lawmakers voiced serious concerns about where the administration's attention was focused, especially since the Minneapolis incident had just intensified already heated debates over border enforcement, use of force, and even the possibility of a partial government shutdown if funding talks broke down. Amazon MGM Studios is distributing the documentary and reportedly paid $40 million for those rights. The connection deepens because Jeff Bezos, Amazon's founder, also owns The Washington Post, which covered the event extensively. Puck's reporting confirmed the extra $35 million committed to worldwide promotional campaigns. Additional outlets, including The Hollywood Reporter and Reuters, noted that invitations had gone out to top executives from Apple, Amazon itself, and several other leading technology companies. This private gathering happened mere hours after a U.S. Border Patrol agent fatally shot Alexander Prey, a 37-year-old nurse working in intensive care, on Saturday morning. Video footage of the encounter quickly spread across social media platforms and mainstream news channels. Democrats in Congress described the shooting as unjustified and disproportionate, highlighting portions of the video that directly contradicted the administration's initial public statements, claiming the individual had been brandishing a weapon. In response, those lawmakers pledged to vote against an essential government funding package that must clear both chambers by the end of Friday to prevent widespread agency closures and service disruptions. Their clear condition: continued appropriations for the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees Border Patrol, ICE, and all immigration enforcement, would require significant reforms and changes to current practices and accountability measures. Notably, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana added his voice to the calls for transparency, publicly urging a comprehensive joint investigation at both federal and state levels. In his social media post, he described the events in Minneapolis as extremely disturbing and deeply concerning to anyone watching the available evidence. Other Democratic figures went further, criticizing the optics of prioritizing a Hollywood-style film screening at the White House, while a dangerous winter storm was bearing down on large swaths of the country. By Saturday night, emergency declarations were already in effect in approximately 24 states, with dangerous combinations of sleet, freezing rain, ice accumulation, and heavy snowfall creating hazardous conditions across the central United States. This raises a fundamental question. What message does the president intend to send by choosing a movie night in the residence over addressing, or at least acknowledging, these unfolding crises? Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of Trump's most consistent and vocal critics, put it bluntly in her online post. Actions like this demonstrate that he is fundamentally unfit to lead during moments that demand focus and responsibility. The Saturday evening screening served as the official kickoff for an entire week of White House-supported promotion for the documentary, which is scheduled to open in theaters nationwide this coming Friday. Plans include the First Lady appearing to ring the ceremonial opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange on Wednesday morning. Both the President and the First Lady are also set to attend a high-profile public premiere event on Thursday night at the Performing Arts Center in Washington, that the current administration has officially rebranded as the Trump Kennedy Center. Adding to the visibility, Trump has pinned a promotional post about the film to the very top of his Truth Social feed, framing it as an unforgettable, exclusive, behind-the-scenes glimpse into one of the most consequential and talked-about moments of our modern era. Taken together, this project fits into a larger recurring pattern that has become impossible to ignore. In Donald Trump's White House, far too many decisions and events seem designed either to generate personal financial benefit, to serve as leverage in deals, or to reward allies and associates. The concerns around transparency, conflicts of interest, and public accountability aren't simply lingering, they are actively intensifying, and up to this point, they have encountered remarkably little in the way of real checks or consequences. That's precisely why the upcoming midterm elections carry such extraordinary weight for Democrats and for the country as a whole. Without majorities in Congress, the tools available to investigate, legislate, or constrain this kind of unchecked conduct appear dangerously limited. And to wrap this up, I'll give the final word to the president himself. sharing his own earlier prediction about what could happen if the political balance doesn't shift. Because if we don't win those midterms, they'll just manufacture another reason to come after me. I'll end up getting impeached all over again.